Let me show you how we can apply autophysics in Cascadeur and enhance or exaggerate existing motions, change them a little bit, and this gives me an opportunity to also show you the import and export process into and from other applications. So here is iClone, and I'm using my motion dummy here with animation from the parkour set, and you can see on the right hand side we have the original animation on the blue dummy, and on the left hand side what Cascadeur has made out of that. So Cascadeur is really good at that. You export the character with the motion, let it apply autophysics, make changes if and when necessary, and then we bring it back into iClone. Let's get started. I'm going to use the exact same animation I showed you earlier, which is the parkour 360 backflip. I'm going to drag that onto my motion dummy here, and if I go and select the clip in iClone, I can press this button and that'll change my play range to the exact duration of this clip, and that's exactly what I want. Motion dummy, just in case you want to follow along, he is under the actor section in a category called motion dummy. I'm using this one here, the first one. It's very lightweight, so my imports and exports are really fast. So for demo purposes, this is exactly what I want. To get him out of iClone specifically, we'll head over to File, Export, FBX, and we'll pick the Maya preset at the very top. And then we're going to go and pick the play range here. Rather than the current frame, the T-pose or all, range is exactly what I want because that's the one I've defined down here. We don't need embedded textures or whatnot. I'm just going to have him as he is. Hit Export, and I'll put him in a Cascadeur demo directory, and I'll call this one Parkour from iClone. Over in Cascadeur, I'm going to go make myself a new scene and head over to File, Import FBX DAE. And that brings us several options that we can use. So it's currently set to scene, and that's a good one to use because it brings in all models as well as all animations. That's probably what we want, but you can do it separately. You can go and change this to model, and then we'll only bring in the model, and then afterwards you can bring in an animation and apply it to the model. I think scene is probably what we want in this case. Hit import, and now something called, well, obviously we need to go and pick my file, and now something called the rig mode helper is gonna come up, and that is quite a helpful little thing, but it's also super confusing if you're seeing Cascadeur for the first time. So you can switch this off by saying don't show this again, and then it won't happen next time you import a model, and you'll only see this guy, but you won't be able to pose him. So just in case you click that button, I will show you how to bring it back if you want to bring this behavior back. So for now, we'll say yes, we do want to enter the rig mode helper, and lots of questions come up, and I'll guide you through this. So this says, hey, this is the rig mode helper. For humanoid characters, it's best to use the quick rigging tool. Would you like to launch it? Again, you can say cancel, but then you have to do all this manually. We have to set up all these control rigs so that Cascadeur can pose these figures and make adjustments. In our case, we want to say yes. The good news is we don't really have to do it manually because rig mode helper once again says, hey, the character's been fully recognized. Click on add rig elements at the bottom of the window to actually, finalize it. So we say, okay, fine. And now you think it continues, but that's not the case. You can now go and see what rig mode helper has done on the body left hand and on the twists. What we need to do now is press this big blue button at the bottom here that says add rig elements. So we're going to say yes. This automatic recognition is happening on most characters that we deal with, like iClone Reillusion characters, DAZ characters, Mixamo characters, Unreal Engine characters. But of course, there are characters that exist that Cascadeur doesn't know how to characterize, and then you can override this manually. Even then, it usually recognizes things like spines and hands, and that's just a few things that it doesn't recognize. Quadrupeds, it's not good at recognizing because there's no standardized way of naming the bones of a dog or of a tiger or whatever. Once this has happened, you need to say generate rig, because right now Cascadeur sort of set this up, but the rig doesn't exist yet. So let's generate the rig. This is going to take a moment depending on the size of your character. I always recommend you have really simplified characters, so not a lot of clothing or hair or whatnot. Remove all that before you import that. You can always make that visible again in your target application afterwards, but you're going to save yourself a lot of trouble when it comes to importing and exporting characters and using them in Cascadeur like that. So our animation was only 90 odd frames. So I'm going to click this button at the bottom here to adjust the timeline to that value. And then I can go and press spacebar, and then I can see the exact animation that I had in iClone. So that is pretty cool. Just on this note of the rig mode helper, in case you have said, no, do not display this next time, where is it? Where do we bring it back? Just in case you need to ever go into rig mode manually, it's this button here, V. V being I don't know, the letter that isn't in setup rig elements, I guess. I don't know. But if you do want to bring it back, head over to settings window, and then in the filter field here, search for rig. And it's the first one that comes up, rig mode helper. If that is off, then the rig mode helper isn't going to launch. So just know that this is where you can bring it back. We're good with our setup here. Now you can see I have all my auto posing points, and I could go and make changes, do all kinds of things like I've shown you in the previous video. For us though, it's all about the auto physics, and that is up here, this little man icon here, the physics assistant. If you enable that, then you can see a green ghost that is sort of offset on 2 axes here. That I don't really like that. I'd like my character to be sort of next to it. We can change that under the physics assistant here. You can see the ghost offset here. You can enable and disable that. When you disable it, my ghost offset is at the exact same point as my original character, and offset is now the X and the Z axis. So I might just put this to -100 and this to 0 so that they're literally just next to one another. Apologies about the weird visual disturbances here. I'm getting that as of today. I'm seeing these as well. I don't know what they are. I just probably need to change the HDMI cable or something. Anyway, on the bottom of the timeline, you can see what, well, first of all, as you scrub through it, you can see that the green guy does other movements than my gray guy, and that is a good indication of what the physics assistant or the auto physics is actually doing here. And on auto physics, these are the details that we can change here. First of all, let's have a look at what these color codes mean here. You can see that above the timeline, I can see dark green things, and that means both feet are firmly planted on the ground. They're considered fulcrum, I guess. When it goes to light green, then one of these feet lifts up, and Cascadeur has recognized, hey, this foot isn't on the ground anymore. And it does this by these fulcrum points that the rig mode helper kindly set up for us. So sometimes the height of the character isn't exactly perfect, and you have to change these things, like the little boxes at the bottom. But in our case, it's worked really well. So it recognizes when a foot is on the ground and when it isn't off the ground, as you can see by these little green circles here. Here, dark green means both feet are back on the ground, and orange means no foot is on the ground. There's no fulcrum at all, and we can see that represented in the trajectory that is being calculated. On top of that, you can see that the physics assistant has made significant changes to our flip here, and I think it looks a lot better actually. There's a lot of parameters that you can adjust here. The most important one I find is the first one, which is the physics corrector. You can, first of all, you can switch it on and off. Off means, of course, nothing happens, but when it is on and on to 100%, that might be a little bit too much. So you can go and drag that down a little to maybe 50%, and then you can see that it's still making corrections, but they're not quite as aggressive as they were before. Also notice the color of the ghost is changing. So the pale green means it's still sort of working on the whole calculation in the background. The moment it goes and turns full green, like now, this means it's done with its calculation. So now this is, anything before that is basically a bit of a preview, if you will. I'm going to leave it dialed up to 100%. These other ones here, smooth trajectory, smooth rotation, compensation motion, separation of motion, and secondary motion, play around with this. I don't know details about it, but it's just how the physics are being calculated here. There's just one thing I wanted to bring to your attention, and that is these other options here. This one here is snap to physics. That's the one that we would use to bake the calculated physics into our real animation. We would do that just before export. This one here is something in which you can freeze the physics on a particular frame, and this one here is something that lets you set a priority frame on your character. So this one's good if you find the motion is being changed too much. So if I go and head over to a point just before he goes and does this flip, if he just goes into the air like here, I can go and park my playhead here, click this keyframe, and then go and make this a priority frame. And at that point, the physics assistant is still going to calculate the height, or the trajectory rather, but it's not going to change the motion on this frame. It's going to leave it intact on this frame. It knows, hey, this is not supposed to change because otherwise my motion is going to be screwed up. And now if you go and scrub through, you can see that the rest of the motion, or even the beginning of the motion, is changed in accordance with that. So you can set these priority frames and say, hey, I don't want to make any changes around that. This is a key frame, so to say, a hero frame, if you will. And in our case, look at what's happened. It's completely taken out the spin that the character did. So with one single keyframe, or with one priority frame, I've totally changed my motion, and I think that's quite cool. So Cascadeur is really good at that. It's not so good at other things, but this is something that it's really, really good at. Like, overriding existing motions with something like a layer, it can't do that. The animation layers are on the roadmap, but they're not implemented yet. I think once they are there, Cascadeur is going to be an incredible tool to have. But right now, this is something that it's incredibly good at. So let me just go and leave it as it is, perhaps, and show you how to bake the physics into our original motion and then bring it back into iClone. So as I said before, let's go and use this button here, snap to physics. It'll say secondary motion, rotation, smoothing, and all this good stuff is going to be applied. And I suppose it's saying you don't want to then use the physics assistant again because you've just used it. Is that correct? And we say, yes, absolutely. I want to basically switch off the physics assistant afterwards. Let it calculate. And now the gray guy is going to look exactly like the green guy. And that's because the new physics correction is going to be switched off. So we could apply it again, but of course that would be insane. So let's go and switch it off. That removes the ghost. And now let's go and export our animation and see what it looks like in iClone, how to get it into iClone. First of all, we need to left click and drag the whole range of what we want to export. That's always very important to Cascadeur. So you can't just go and rely on the fact that everything gets exported. You have to go and actually physically select the whole range of what you want exported. Let's head over to File, Export, FBX. And in our case, it is an animation that we want to export. You could also pick different presets here, but animation is what we want. Put into Cascadeur demo, and I'll say parkour from Cascadeur. That's done that. Back in iClone, let me go and bring another motion dummy in again so that we can see these guys side by side perhaps. He also starts here, and then maybe we'll go and make him a different color just so that we can tell them apart. Maybe this nice teal color. And now with my character selected on the first frame of the animation, head over to File, Import, Import External Motion. Pick this parkour from Cascadeur, and then we can just use the motion profile for the current character. We don't want to set a motion T-pose here because the first frame of our Cascadeur animation didn't include one. We want to just apply it exactly as it is. Keep original is fine, convert all, and here we go. Now we can go and run these guys side by side, and I can see the motion that Cascadeur has applied on the right and the original one on the left. And that is pretty cool. So this is what Cascadeur really excels at. And all I did was one change with one keyframe, and that's pretty cool. I'll also show you in another video how to do this with DAZ characters, because DAZ characters, of course, they're a little bit special, and we'll go and animate them from hand. But I'll show you the whole import and export process with DAZ Studio very shortly. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned a lot, and I hope you got a lot out of it. I hope I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.